Hey, Dr. Johnson, I know there are things around the house that wouldn't be good if the dog or cat got into them. Any thoughts on what we should do to protect our animals from household toxins or maybe even plants?
There's a long list. I think I've said that before in a couple of other these success path videos, but I think before you ever bring a dog or a cat into your home, you need to think about it in the sense of how do I minimize risk? How do I pet proof my home? And just kind of similar to how you would do it with a baby or an infant that you're bringing home. You want to start thinking about how what are some potential hazards that maybe I don't even think about. And it's a little bit different dog versus cat, because there are, cats have some very specific toxins that dogs don't necessarily have to worry about. Things like, in some cases, Tylenol. Tylenol, I don't ever recommend it for dogs. However, Tylenol will kill a cat very quickly because they do not have the enzyme to break it down in their liver. I won't go into much more right now regarding that, but Tylenol is deadly to cats. And so it's not good for dogs, generally speaking, but it is deadly to cats. So that's one sort of a specific area that I can touch on. Cats are generally more sensitive to anything aerosolized. It takes a much lower quantity for cats in several instances, just like in a small dog versus a large dog. So you want to think about things like rat poison that you might have out. You might think about the pods. So young dogs do silly things that you would never think about. So they would potentially want to chew on a pod. And again, those are highly toxic. And so you want to make sure those are out of reach for them. Height. So if you have a dog or a cat that can get on to a table or a countertop, if you have medications up there, if you have cleaning agents up there that they can get to, you want to make sure that you are getting them away from them. And with cats, I even recommend that you clean the house when they're put in a specific place so that they're not being exposed to some of those cleaning agents. Some cats are so sensitive, and as a matter of fact, I'll touch on that the unscented litter is actually better for them than scented litter, because that can actually cause problems for them. So you have to be vigilant. We're not giving you a complete list by any means, but it's a conversation starter. It's something to think about when you're bringing a dog or a cat into your home, especially if it's a young kitten or a puppy, because they're going to do things that maybe an older dog or cat wouldn't be necessarily interested in because they're curious about certain things. Plants, if you have a green thumb and you have indoor plants in your house, generally speaking, to play it safe, I consider them all toxic. Any flowering plant potentially is toxic, whether it's mildly GI distress or much more serious, like kidney failure in some instances. It's all over the map. And so unless it's something like cat grass or catnip, just to play it safe, make sure that you're keeping them out of reach or even out of the house. Even by the way, the soil that you're putting your house plants in can actually transmit certain types of parasites to your pets. So a lot of little things that we want to just make you broadly aware of when you're trying to, I call it pet proof your home. You can never ever completely pet proof your home inside or out, but you can definitely decrease the odds of having some sort of an unfortunate exposure to a toxin that maybe we weren't even thinking about. So again, really, really focus in and ask questions. Ask questions. There is no poor question when it comes to something like this. I'd much rather you ask. Ask the community, ask me whether or not this is something that's okay for my dog or cat. So ask away. That's why we're here.